mysterious death curse washes over the land, driven by a powerful artifact known as the Soulmonger. 4 would-be heroes have been sent to the jungles of Chult to destroy the cause of this terrible affliction. Vale, the half-elven paladin, who's just now learning of his divinely granted powers. Ubo, the turtle monk from a distant land, who's as quick with his wit as he is with his staff. Brilinya, Aasimar warlock, sent on this quest by her temple, discovering herself in this strange new land. And gunslinger Cole, tiefling artificer and archaeologist who may just dig up more than she bargained for. This motley band of adventurers must work together to brave the poisonous plants, venomous monsters, thundering dinosaurs, and rotting undead of the jungle. Join the omnipotent dungeon master Jake from many-terrain domain to see if our heroes can find the Soulmonger, uncover the deeper mysteries of Chult, and free the world from the death curse. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to Chult of Personality.
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini-Terrain Domain, and this is Chult of Personality, our Tomb of Annihilation campaign happening Sunday nights right here on twitch.tv/Mini-Terrain Domain. And this is episode 45. It is the beginning of August. Let's see, August, September, October, November. So, yeah, 1 year and 9 months we've been playing this game. And finally, your characters are standing at the threshold of the actual Tomb of Annihilation. So don't die tonight. We are obviously down one Marquise, but he has decided to join us in static form of a 2-year-old picture. Marquis should be joining us again next week. In the meantime, we're going to see if we can get by without him tonight. Try not to kill these 3 players as they are not in the best of conditions. If you mouse over on Twitch, if you're watching on your computer and you mouse over the main screen, you will see the D&D Beyond overlay. We are powered by D&D Beyond. And you will see that some of these players are in pretty bad shape after the last fight. And we'll get into the recap in just a moment. But if you're worried about the fate of your favorite characters, there is a way you can have a little bit of influence. If you look down below me, you will see some green devil heads. We call those domain devils or domain dice. Domain dice can be purchased for the players through a $5 tip or a 500-bit donation, or subscribing to the channel, resubscribing to the channel, raids, all that kind of stuff will earn them more domain dice that they can use for things like making me re-roll a D20, re-rolling a D20 themselves, converting death save throws that are failed, or what's called the Patron's Blessing, 5 domain dice to turn a hit into a super critical, which is a automatic double max damage on an attack. So that is just our way to allow you, the audience, to have a little bit of influence on the game through domain dice. If you want more information about that, you can type domain dice in the chat. I do want to say that this channel is partnered with Jasper's Game Day. On Twitch, down below, somewhere down below the video window, you will see a panel for Jasper's Game Day. Clicking on that or typing Jasper into the chat will bring up a link to their donation page. Jasper's Game Day is an organization that was founded by Fenway Jones, the teen DM, right here in Michigan, where I'm from, and is dedicated to raising awareness and trying to eliminate suicide through tabletop gaming. And so all of that money goes to fund crisis centers throughout the country. And part of that partnership, I have joined up with Initiative Coffee Company, where you can get Metade roast coffee. It's a medium Brazilian and Peruvian roast coffee. Every 12-ounce bag that is purchased, $3 of that purchase price goes to Jasper's Game Day for the funding of those crisis centers. And finally, on that same topic, because we here at Mini Terrain Domain believe this with all our heart, that you matter. You are important. We care about you, and there are others out there that care about you, and there are other people out there that you can talk to if you need somebody to talk to. If you are feeling that you're not in a great place, we encourage you to type !help, as I have just done in the chat, and that will bring up the National Suicide Hotline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255, or you can text 741-741. And there are trained professionals that are waiting to take your call, and will talk you through whatever it is that you might have. And we learned recently, and I need to update the chat there, but if you are a veteran, as I am, and you find yourself in need of talking to somebody, when you call this number, you can dial 1 right away, and or press 1, and you will be taken to the to a veterans specific suicide hotline. So if that's a situation you're in, and you need somebody that can understand where you're coming from in that way, please do not hesitate to use that number. There's absolutely no reason to. So keep that in mind. Let's see. I do want to make at the top here, and we'll probably mention it again at the end. Mini Terrain Domain, this is kind of the start of our streaming week. So we have this game on Sunday nights. On Monday nights with Mr. Mike the Piper as the Dungeon Master, we have our All That Glitters campaign. That is our Waterdeep Dragon Heist game with myself and Megan. And we also have Cassie and Dwight playing in that game. Every other Tuesday night, I can be found over on Dice on Ice under the DM brilliance of Megan, playing alongside Connor in Curse of Strahd. I think we just finished up episode 9 or 10, if I remember correctly.
We just finished episode 11.
Oh, 11. All right. And that's an every other week game. Coming up in just a few weeks, on opposite Tuesdays, right here on Mini Terrain Domain, will be a new game called Whispers of Destiny, featuring 5 players whom I've played with before, but none of them are in any of my other games, which is the first time that's happened. And it is a brand new campaign that I will be running on opposite Tuesdays that takes place in the Lost Mines of Phandelver setting from the starter set, with the Dragons of Icespire Peak mixed in from the Essentials. It's a sort of Western frontier Forgotten Realms. So it's not full-on cowboys kind of thing, but it has that sort of frontier nature to it. And we have Brian from Initiative Coffee Company, Von Hub, our friend Yvonne Hubble will be a player in that. Somebody who I think Connor and Megan are a little close to, Karen, Myth and Gears, will be joining us for that, as well as, let's see, that was Yvonne and Megan. No, not Megan. Yvonne, Karen, Brian. I'm going to forget somebody. Todd Silbar, who is better known as Warlords Crusade. He is an actual armorer, and will be playing in that. And I have a 5th player in that game that I do not want to be responsible for not saying who it is. Oh yeah, there it is, as I stalled. My friend Mike Mers, who has played in a couple of my online games and is one of my home group players. I was thinking only in terms of online. That's why I was struggling to remember who the 5th player was.
This campaign sounds like it's a Keep on the Borderlands kind of style, and I like it.
Sure. I don't know what that is. I'm lying. I know what that is. I've never played it.
If not, I'm gonna have to reach through the internet. I'm gonna
No,
smack
I know what Keep on the Borderlands. Yeah, it's probably going to have a feel similar to that. And then, of course, Thursday nights is our Dawnbringers campaign, which has Megan as a player in that. We've got DM Scotty, we've got V the Crafting Muse, Ted from Nerdarchy, and Jeremy from Erasmus Expeditions. And we're playing in the Ghost of Saltmar setting. But you may have noticed I skipped over Wednesdays. Starting this Wednesday at it's at 9 p.m. Eastern. Every other Wednesday is a game called Spire The City Must Fall. Is that right? Did I get that right?
You absolutely did get it right.
Okay.
Line it up with the camera.
All right. So that is a game that is being game mastered by Connor. Megan is a player along with Jeff Doty and Lloyd Collins. And they are running it here on Mini Terrain Domain. You'll be able to catch the VODs if you miss them over on they'll be here for 45 days, but otherwise you'll be able to see them on Dice on Ice. But it is the first occurrence of players and DMs who I trust running their own games here on the channel. So I'm very excited about that, to be able to have a platform for them to play that game. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. There was an update, and we noticed that in another game that my volume was twice as loud as everybody else's. It's just because I'm twice as important as everybody. Can one of you guys say something for me?
I'm talking and I'm saying stuff. I'm really excited to run Spire on Wednesdays, and you're going to cut me off and make me shut up now.
All right, that looks good. Weirdly, because of my microphone, I have to drop my volume like to half volume just to get into normal. I'll have to check my settings. Anyway, all right, cool. Better to get that out of the way at the beginning. But no, I am very excited, Connor, to have you running the game, and Megan will be producing that on the channel, and yeah, that's going to be awesome. So you'll definitely want to tune in for that. So with that said, I think we're ready to get back into our actual game of Tomb of Annihilation. So, the last time you all encountered something, a creature, unlike any of the T-Rexes you had seen before. This creature was bigger, it was faster. But it was still ultimately no match for you. This was a T-Rex known as the King of Feathers. It was enough to do some pretty significant damage to you guys, but you were still standing at the end. But it had ripped one of the two Weeping Friar Asamer attendants to Brother Matthias, had ripped one of them in half, had eviscerated the other one, and you wound up having to deal with Brother Matthias as he was trying to kill all of you. You knew you were going to have to face him because he held the last remaining puzzle cubes that you would need to get into the Tomb of the Nine Gods. Having acquired one yourself and being given the remaining, or the other ones that Matthias didn't have by the Yuan-Ti, when you managed to survive that whole ordeal. Ultimately, though, Brother Matthias was defeated. His body now lies growing colder against a tree. The King of Feathers' massive body lies dead near you. You're in the northwest corner of the lost city of Omu, near an amphitheater. Failing to gain her glorious death yet again, the Tabaxi adventurer who has joined you for a little while, trying desperately to die a glorious death, but continuously being robbed of that occasion, has just said that she's a little ways off to the north, and she said that she has found something. Dunala's been acting a little bit weird, weirder than normal, in that he, during the course of the battle, had been banished by Brother Matthias, though no one knows where he was. For around a minute, Dunala was gone, and when he came back, from the moment he's returned, which at this point has only been a few moments, Dunala has been quiet and sort of standing at the periphery, just sort of observing. And he does begin to wander over toward where Copper Bell was. Now, I am going to reiterate the tale, the legend of the 9 gods. But before I do that, in the moments following the defeat of Brother Matthias, as Dunala is wandering off to see what Copper Bell is up to, Brilinya, Qualu, and Vale. If I remember correctly, it was it Vale that actually dealt the killing blow to Matthias? I believe it was. I believe you had had a pretty significant
Oh, that's right. I was an asshole.
Vale did every single kill move, I believe, that session.
Yeah, I was feeling
much to my chagrin,
Yes.
I was very disappointed with all the kill moves that someone else was having instead of me.
So in this moment, before I don't want to take away from this moment. This is in particular, to some degree, probably a significant moment for Brilinya, more so than anybody else. But what would the three of you like to do at this moment, Vale? It is that feeling you get when a storm is brewing. Everything still has the light of day, but the clouds are growing angrier and grayer. So the foliage, the green of the jungle, which is sparse in this area, stands in stark contrast to the growing darkness of the skies. To the north and to the west, immediately, the cliffs rise up quite a bit with these large gargoyles that are staring down, some of which, days ago, you actually fought when you arrived here. But these gargoyles stand motionless on the cliff. For the briefest of moments, the only sound that is heard is the heavy breathing of yourselves, having just exerted yourself in combat, and this steady that is the blood of Brother Matthias dripping from Vale's rapier onto a broadleaf plant. What would you like to do?
I would probably, resting, I'd grab a cleaner broadleaf and just kind of wipe the rapier, sheath it, and kind of turn to the others and say, I think we could all use a rest. Would you not agree?
Brilinya is kneeling by the body of Brother Matthias. She says nothing but nods her head, acknowledging that she has heard you.
Qualu looks around at the three of you, seeing you all being battle weary. Very well.
I think it's going to rain. I'm going to look up. Perhaps we should find shelter in one of these ruined huts.
There appears to be a cave over here, Dunala says. The cat has found something. And he is probably standing about 30 or 40 feet northwest of where you were, and is indicating towards this almost immediately in the absolute corner of the lost city of Omu. And looking beyond, you actually can see now that Dunala is indicating a distance, another 50, 60 feet, and you can see Copper Bell, the tabaxi, standing there in front of an obelisk. But you can just make out beyond it, there appears to be what looks like beyond the obelisk an opening in the wall of the cliff that could be some sort of cave.
I'll start to follow.
I've rested in worse.
Brilinya, she turns, she's gonna... I'll meet up with you in a moment. I'd like to bury him first.
Do you need help?
She shakes her head. It'll only take a moment.
All right. Then be quick and call if you need help, if anything comes out.
I will. And she sets to... She's not going to dig a hole and bury him per se, but she wants to start looking for rocks, bits of twigs and mud to create some sort of...
Like a cairn?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you absolutely can do that. This whole area is nothing but ruins and crumbling stone. So it's not at all a problem. They are plentiful. So Qualu and Vale, you're leaving Brilinya to do this as you head over towards Dunala and Copper Bell. So Brilinya, this task is going to take you, even though everything is plentiful, it's probably going to take you about a half an hour to gather everything. Are you just doing this mechanically, or is there anything specific you're doing while you're creating this cairn?
No, she's just doing this and trying to focus on the work that she has, not letting the minds or her thoughts intrude into her mind.
All right, so you absolutely have no problem, like I said, creating that. During this time, remind me what your passive perception is.
Mine is 11.
During this time, about the time you finish the cairn and you're just sitting there for a moment, once it's completed, you hear from a tree nearby, you hear this, the call of a bird. And as you turn, you hear the rustling of branches of a tree, and a brightly colored feather is floating to the ground as you see a humanoid-shaped bird flying away off into the sky, very familiar looking, and heading off into the distance. One of his feathers floating to the ground near you.
She picks up the feather and she does. Brilinya still has Cole's book. I don't know why I have this sneaking suspicion that she doesn't have it anymore, but
I'm trying to remember because I feel like you got rid of the book.
I feel like something happened to it. But
If memory serves me correctly, I know that Dunala had the book for some time. He was studying it, and then a few sessions ago, he gave the book back to you because you wanted it, because you were angry that he took it in the first damn place.
Ah.
Because he's a poopy jerk.
Yeah, maybe
That
that's
makes
what it
sense.
was.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
unless
I wasn't
somebody comes
sure.
in and absolutely says, no, Brilinya trashed the book, we'll assume that you do have the book.
She would place the feather in between the pages of Cole's journal.
Okay.
And I think that she would sit out at the where Brother Mateus lay for a while. She actually doesn't need to sleep as long as she's not doing anything.
Oh, yes.
So
as you leveled up, you gained new abilities, didn't you?
Jeez. Wow, what's with my characters in your game just not sleeping?
I'm realizing that.
Yeah. But she would keep vigil, just constantly saying prayers over and over again. I think that the mithril on her arms would be glowing. And as it got dark, I can imagine from the mouth of the cave, all you would see is the faint glow of these mithril bands.
And with that, we'll cut over to initially, moments later, Vale and Qualu, as you catch up to Dunala and Copper Bell, you can see there's all along this area the cliff is kind of goes in and out in these jagged areas, but there's this obelisk that is standing in front of excuse me, that is standing in front of about it's about 10 feet in front of an opening in the cliff wall that appears to be carved. It's about 15 feet deep and 10 feet wide. And there is immediately to the right, about another 10 feet, is a 5-foot wide tunnel carved going to the east. All along, it seems to disappear in the darkness. But Dunala and Copper Bell are standing and looking at this 15-foot tall obelisk of cracked stone. It's completely draped in vines and black moss. And you can see up above that there are 3 stone gargoyles on narrow ledges in the cliffside, that each one of these gargoyles has the face of, like right here, the green devil face. Each one of them has that bearded devil with the mouth open and agape, but otherwise not speaking. As the two of you approach, Vale and Qualu, Dunala just says, I think we are in the right direction. I have checked the stone, and there is a definite magical aura, the fiendish presence. Dunala says that he senses abjuration magic coming from this. And there is writing carved into the side of the obelisk.
Well, I'd like to try and read that. Possible.
As you take a closer look at it, You definitely feel sort of the hair on the back of your neck rise, and your divine sense just sort of almost triggering like a spidey sense. There's this fiendish aura coming from this obelisk, but the words written upon it are written in common. Fear the night when the Forsaken One seizes death's mantle, and the seas dry up, and the dead rise, and I, Acererak the Eternal, reap the world of the living. Those who dare enter, take heed. The enemies oppose. One stands between them. In darkness it hides. Don the mask, or be seen. Speak no truth to the doomed child. The keys turn on the inside only. And I will actually take all of that text and I will paste it in our side chat for you to reference.
I'm going to say, shit, someone should be writing this down, right?
And I will actually have a something that I can provide you guys with. This is one of the handouts. So I will see what I can do about that. I'll have to find that one. Oh, I just found it. I don't know if this will work. I'll check it later. But I'll make sure you guys have access to it. For now, you have the text in the side chat to reference. So do you read this out loud, Vale, or do you read it to yourself? Qualu, are you reading over his shoulder?
I would read it out loud.
All right.
You actually want me to read it out loud?
No. I just wanted to know if you were reading it out loud.
But yep. No, I will read that out loud. And also, I think I'm gonna cast Detect Good and Evil, which I have as a divine sense. So I can use that any celestial, fiend, undead within 60 feet that's not behind total cover.
As I said, you zero in now and you 100% detect a fiendish presence from within this obelisk.
Oh, inside the obelisk.
Yes, you detect a fiendish presence within the obelisk.
I'll turn to the others and say, well, this will be a tough nut to crack, but something in there that's not very friendly to us. I have a feeling we might have to kill him.
I do most of my greetings the same way.
That you must not make a lot of friends then, do you? I mean, doesn't seem. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Don't know what we should do then. Just break it open. Maybe wait for Brill to get back.
Give me a give me an insight check, Vale.
That'll be a 15.
You feel that if you wished to, based on how long this obelisk appears to have been here, the fact that it is cracked and weather worn, if you wanted to try to get into it or break into it, you feel like if enough of you combined your strength, you might be able to topple it. If that's what you choose to do.
If you like pushing something over.
To what end?
Breaking it.
What purpose would that serve?
Well, to get whatever's in the obelisk to come out, so we could fight whatever's in the obelisk. I mean, I would assume it would be evil. I would assume it would be something that we would need to face whatever horrors are inside the tomb.
Is that what the riddle says?
Well,
I see a large standing stone. It does nothing. If a great evil lurks inside, why unleash it? Why not keep it in its prison?
that's a fair question. It's a fair point. Yeah, right.
Do you like toppling things?
Well,
For the mere
I mean,
love of it.
yeah, kind of. I mean, you see something established and you know it's probably all corrupt and stuff, so you just want to push it over and destroy it. Works for me. However, we could probably go for a long rest anyway.
You were the ones pandering for a rest, not I.
Oh, well then. All right, big, tough, strong man. I guess we'll rest. You can just stand there and, I don't know, cut down a tree with your icy, intense glare or something.
I'd use a hatchet.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing. Good thing we've got some thinkers in this group. Tell you what. All right then. Well, let's take a break. Hop in this cave and rest up. And so that's what I'm gonna do.
The Copper Bell is standing there and just sort of, while you two are talking, just says that she comes back. She had kind of was investigating the two areas, and she says that I went inside this narrow alcove that was over here. It is there are statues inside there, and the basins of oil. They seem to be similar to the statues of those so-called trickster gods. This over here, this one looks like we could take cover in here, but it's got a bit of carvings inside it as well.
Carvings don't kill.
Well, I suppose if you don't mess with them. But this seems like a good place. If it is going to rain, that perhaps we can take cover in here.
Sounds good.
It's about a 10-foot by 15-foot cut into the north, to the north into the cliff.
All right. I'm gonna pop in, find a corner, and sit down and take a long rest.
All right. Eventually, if anyone were to look out, I would imagine looking out from, because it is a wide open thing, in the direction of where Brilinya was, which is probably about 100 or so feet to the south, you would see in the night that there is a glow, a radiant glow coming from that area emanating, but otherwise she doesn't try to or doesn't come back. But unless you would like to do anything else, I will describe for you real quick as you do head into this this tunnel. This short tunnel ends at a slab of worked stone And you can see that the edges of the stone are marked by relief carvings of grinning skulls. 4 lines engraved at the center of the slab cross one another to form a star, with both ends of each line marking the location of a cube-shaped cavity cut into the door. 8 cavities in all.
Qualu will drape vines and other pulled grasses, perhaps, to drape over the covering of this cave, just to mask it in, camouflaged style, with the rest of the cliffside. While we take our long rest.
All right. Well, then you may simply, on your D&D Beyond character sheet, you can simply click the long rest button and get all those hit points back. And that should automatically reset any of your spell slots and dailies as well.
Voila. Voila,
Um,
I am rested.
Eventually, morning comes. All of you, though you feel well rested, you feel that ache in your bones, the ache of travel, the ache of combat, the ache of sleeping in a damp cave entrance. But otherwise, you feel completely rested. Brilinya, when the sun rises, do you join the others? So as the sun is rising, Brilinya comes sort of, you would approach and you would also see this obelisk standing there. If you choose to read it, you would see the same message carved into it as well. The stone gargoyles up above, and you would find your companions all resting inside this cave entrance.
She would actually start pulling out. Do they have any food? I don't know. Some rations or something like that.
Qualu has a bunch of dried game that he's hunted over the many months that he'd begrudgingly share with people.
While much time has passed in real life, in game time, it has probably only been a few days since you came into the city. And when you guys were back at that old encampment, you had cooked up a bunch of the dinosaur meat. So for that purpose, I think you guys have several days worth of rations of cooked dinosaur meat. However, I would imagine you guys are finding yourselves in need of water.
So actually, I think that's what Brilinya would go and do in the morning if she comes back and she sees that everyone is still asleep. She would just venture just to the beginnings of the jungle, and she would try to
make me an insight check.
That is a 14.
So you do remember that you have at your disposal.
Oh yeah.
As apparently you suddenly
the jar of mayonnaise
are remembering that. I don't know who has it. I don't remember who among you has it, but it was something that Cole died retrieving.
Mm-hmm.
So as a reminder, you do have an alchemy jug that is capable of, yes, it can produce 2 gallons of mayonnaise if you wish. It does provide you with 8 ounces of acid, a half ounce of basic poison, 4 gallons of beer, 1 gallon of honey, a quart of oil, 2 gallons of vinegar, 8 gallons of fresh water, 12 gallons of salt water, or 1 gallon of wine. And that's the maximum per day of each of those liquids.
So further change to the plan. I think that did they start some sort of fire that is on its coals now, or would you guys have
I don't
just
know. Did you guys start a fire?
I don't think we would have. I mean, if Qualu's going to cover up the entrance, then there's not going to really be any way to like let the air go out. I imagine it's not necessarily a cleft in the mountainside, but an actual cave, or a large alcove. So I mean,
Yeah, and with the humidity in the place, in the heat of the day, you probably don't even need fire. Still pretty warm at night.
So she would actually go and outside of the cave's entrance and start making a small fire, taking some of the rations, some of the oil, and just try to make something else rather than just dried rations. Make something of a breakfast, even though she's never been a cook.
Mix some mayonnaise in there.
I mean, we could do that, or I could cast a spell that would help us have some food.
You do have a paladin.
Well, let's just eat Brill's cooking.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
All right.
Well, I want to try something here
Because I can literally create 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water on the ground.
So that'll have to feed me.
It'll
you guys.
It'll
You guys
sustain,
can eat Brill's food.
It'll sustain up to 15 people or 5 steeds for 24 hours. It's bland food, but it's nourishing.
5 Steves.
That's where the alchemy jug comes in, seasoning it with
mayonnaise. Wine and mayonnaise.
All right, so make me as you had mentioned, as you're gathering for the fire, and you also spent time when you were gathering for the rock cairn and stuff, make me a survival check.
Okay. That is a 6.
Never mind. So you have, as you said, the oil and the rations you already have, the dinosaur meat and stuff. There was a chance you might have found some vegetation that could be helpful. I want to answer your question, Godless Lawyer, but you are dropping puns like a mad person. Godless Lawyer asked, does the jug work every time, or is it a may or may not situation? I appreciate the puns.
Get out.
That pun gets my seal of approval.
All right, so you would, I would say that the rest of you would awaken to the smells and sounds of Brilinya preparing breakfast. So you may all enjoy a hearty breakfast, and you have now a narrow passageway to your to the east and the current alcove that you are in to explore. Or there's this whole area outside, plus there's the matter of the obelisk. What would you like to do?
I don't know about the rest of you, but I have a feeling these puzzle cubes must fit inside these statues. I have a feeling that it probably goes in a certain order.
What makes you say that? And what order would that be?
I don't know. I mean, maybe that story from Ubtao about all the 9 small gods that helped them on the way.
But there's only 8 holes.
Well, just because there's only 8, I mean, Maybe the 9th goes into a special key or something.
This is the point where you will all recall the tale, the legend of the 9 gods that Orvix Okramis had described for the Weeping Friars had told you, and I will reiterate that for you so it's fresh in your mind. Stories of Omu's 9 trickster gods died with the Omuans who worshipped them. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Long ago, Ubtao hardened his heart and vowed to weep for the people of Omu no longer. The rain stopped, the jungle withered and died, and death swept through Omu. One morning, a wise Zorbo emerged from her hollow tree and spoke to the dying Omuans. To convince Ubtao of their worth, she decided to cook him a stew made from all their good qualities. Catching such virtues wouldn't be easy, so she asked a wily Elmirage to help her. The Elmirage snuck recklessness into the pot, which she saw as a virtue, and Ubtao spat out the stew when he tasted it. From that day on, Obolaka the Zorbo and Ijin the Elmirage became terrible enemies. At noon, a brave Commandant hopped down from a rock. She saw the evil in the Omuans' hearts and decided to lance it like a troublesome boil. The Commandant fashioned a holy spear, but she left it by the riverbank, and a crafty Grung stole it. In her rage, Shagambi the Commandant forgot all about the Omuans and chased Nang Nang the Grung forever across the sky. When evening came, a wily Ibli stepped from his reed hut. He didn't like the Omuans, but without them he'd have no one to play his tricks on. The Ibli sent a marsh frog to reason with Ubtao, but the frog was angry and decided to wrestle the god instead. This amused Ubtao, so he gave the frog tentacles to make it stronger. When Kubazan the Frogamuth returned to Papazodal the Ibli, he chased Papazodal into the swamp with his new tentacles. That night, a Sioux monster broke into Ubtao's palace and stole a pail of water for the Omuans. When the god came running to find it, the Sioux monster hid the pail in a Jaculi's burrow. Ubtao asked the jungle animals where his water was hidden, and Moa the Jaculi was too honest to lie. When Wongo the Sioux monster found out how Moa had betrayed him, he vowed to catch the Jaculi and eat him up. All the while, Unk, the flail snail, lived deep under the earth. The noise of the other animals fighting made her slither up to the surface, and when day dawned over her shell, the light blinded Ubtao and made his eyes water. Life returned to Omu, and the people built shrines to honor the animals who'd saved them. And if you guys go in D&D Beyond, if you go to just the campaign for Chult of Personality, the text of all of that is available for you to refer to.
I've been reading along.
Excellent. So, there's a little context as you look at these 8 cube alcoves that are in this stone slab.
Did you say that there were cave drawings in there as well?
There are, along the edges of this stone slab, there are skulls carved in relief. Copper Bell says, but I did see over here to the east is a very narrow chamber, and there are statues to the gods, and each one of them has a basin of oil underneath it. But again, there are only 8.
Not sure where the 9th would be. Do you know which one's missing?
I don't exactly know who the all of the gods are in the stories as well as perhaps maybe you do, but I guess I could go in and take a look.
I'll go in, and I'll go into the alcove to see which god is missing.
So you follow off just 20, 30 feet off to the east. And there is this narrow, it's only 5 feet wide, that runs along. And there are, what you see as you move along are first statues to Moa the Jakuli and Wongo the Sioux Monster. This is going from, as you enter, so going from west to east, is Moa the Jakuli and Wongo the Sioux Monster, opposite each other. Then you see Ijin the El Mirage and Obalaka the Zorbo. Next is Papazoto the Ibli and Kubazan the Frogamuth. And lastly is Nang Nang the Grung and Shagambi the Kamadan. There is no sign of a statue for Unk, the flail snail. Each statue is 3 feet in height. I do need to know who is in possession of the 9 puzzle cubes.
I thought Dunala was.
Yeah, I think so.
Because
Okay.
took them from the Snake Man.
All right, well, you do, as you enter in here, you do see these 3-foot-tall statues in the order I said, standing opposite each other, and there is a basin of oil, like one would expect to see a bowl of oil used for illumination. And that's it.
All right.
Did just Vale go in there? Copper Bell's sort of standing outside looking in as you go in. There's not really room for 2 of you to go in abreast, though you could go in a line, or one person can go in there however you want to do it.
I think that Brilinya would have followed in after Vale, just a ways, just enough to see.
Okay, so yeah, you can start to see the same thing. It is, let's see, it is, you get about 20 feet in before you see the first 2 statues, and then there's about 5 feet between each statue, so it's about 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. The whole tunnel is about 55 feet deep, and at the very end are the last 2 statues sitting opposite each other.
I'd probably ask for the cubes then. And
I would imagine at this point, as you're in the deepest, and then Brilinya is behind you, that Dunala would probably come over and say something to the effect of, "It is probably not a good idea for us to split up at this point."
I would agree with you there, Dunala.
Let me just check something. I have Dunala's character sheet. I need to check his spells and see if he has... Okay, he does not have that. Never mind. So I won't have him do that. So, Vale, did you go all the way to the end, just looking at all these statues?
Yeah.
And then Brilinya went part way. So, I think Dunala would probably walk in far enough to at least see the statues, the first statues, and get a good look at them. And you said Dunala has all 9 puzzle cubes? As Dunala enters and gets close to the first statue of Moa the Jakuli and Wongo the Sioux Monster, all 8 bowls of oil illuminate. Brilinya and Vale, right next to you, there's this sudden rush of warmth and heat as this bowl of oil just erupts into flame next to you, and then settles just into a steadily burning flame, giving off a not too unpleasant smell of this sort of natural oil that's burning in it. The statues themselves are now cast into sharp light and shadow lit from beneath. As you see all of these going off, Vale, what is your passive perception?
That's a great question. Let's have a look. Like I said, I'm really trying to study this story. I have a feeling that it's kind of really, really important. My passive perception is 13. I realized my passive insight. I didn't realize there was passive insight.
Go ahead, Vale and Brilinya and Connor, why don't you go ahead and roll a perception check for Dunala. Dunala has a +1 to perception.
Yeah, 15 then for him.
Ooh. Natural 19 on the die. That makes it 22.
Out of 5.
All right, so who got above an 18? Vale, and this makes sense as close as you are. And actually, I'm sorry, you guys should have done that with advantage. But Vale, you're standing right there. You notice once the initial flare of the braziers lighting up, the wall that you are standing next to, that is the end of this tunnel, you notice that there is light flickering around the edges of it, real faintly, tracing out the edges that make it look as if this end of this hall is a false wall. It may in fact be a secret door.
Okay. So I think I'm just going to go back to the story. It's a great thing about notes and whatnot. It says that every hero in D&D has an eidetic memory and never forgets.
Right.
So I think the first one I would go to is probably Obolaka, the Zorbo. And I would pull out Obolaka's cube and kind of look at it and then examine the statue to see exactly where I would put it.
There is no indication of anywhere that this puzzle cube would go.
Okay. Like, is there like a flat top to the statue? Like a little, like you just place it on like a plinth or something?
Nope. The statues are carved in the likeness. There's no flat spots. There are no openings, slots, or anything that indicates that you would put a puzzle cube there.
I was going to turn to Brilinya. What do we have to bet? We have to put these inside the fire.
I thought they would have gone in those slots, those holes maybe, but there's nothing there to say which ones go in which order.
That's a good point. All right. Well, so we should probably leave here and go to the other alcove then.
Maybe something happened over there.
Maybe. All right. So actually, what I'll say is to ask Qualu if he could go have a look at the other area with the slots in it to see if something happened when we walked in with the cubes.
Olu kind of grunts. Yep. And goes to check it out.
Okay. I'm going to have one of you roll me an insight check for Dunala. And I'm going to roll one for... Oh, she's not very smart. Nope. So nothing from Copper Bell. She's kind of bored, scratching at fleas outside.
And Dunala got a 11 plus 5, 16.
Yep. Okay, so Koalu, you head back over to the alcove where you were, and you see no change whatsoever there's nothing different about this cavern. As you pass out of there, Dunala is still, in order. We have Vale, then Brilinya, then Qualu, from deepest to closest to the opening. Not Qualu, Dunala. All right, let me try this again. Vale, Brilinya, Dunala are still in this hall with these statues burning, and Dunala, after Qualu walks away, leans to look to the side past Brilinya. Vale, perhaps maybe if you tried to push on that, it looks like it could be something behind it.
Well, the statue.
The end of the hall.
And
Do you see the outlines of the fire?
Oh, right. To be honest, I thought the cubes activated the door, but all right. So I'll go over and I'll give it a push.
That is very logical thinking. And Vale, for reasons that are beyond my ability to remember, you have an incredible strength.
I do.
I don't remember why it is you're so strong.
Because I defeated Kubazan, the Froghemoth, in a ridiculous, probably game-breaking way that I didn't realize that I had actually done it, but sure enough, thwumped it good.
Okay. I just saw that, and I'm like, I know that's true. I don't doubt that. I just don't remember it exactly. But yeah, so you have no problem once you kind of realize, oh, wait, yeah, I could probably just push on this. You find that you kind of give a push on it, and you can actually slide this wall, and it is in fact a false wall, and it slides into a recess, and there behind this false wall is another alcove with a burning brazier of oil illuminating a statue of what's his name? Unk, the flail snail. And you find that a golden pendant shaped like an eye is hanging from the Unk statue.
This is going to be such a dumb idea, but I'm going to inspect that pendant, and then I'm going to take the pendant. I'll inspect it first to make sure it's not trapped, or I'm going to get my hand ripped off.
Give me a investigation check.
I'm really hoping I don't suck at those, but let's see. Come on, Vale. There we go. Oh, well then. You said investigation, right?
Correct.
That would be a 12.
You see a golden pendant hanging from one of the eye stalks of Unk the flail snail. It does not appear to be attached to anything. There's no tripwires or fine threads or anything sticking to it. No needles poking out of it. It just looks like somebody hung this untarnished golden pendant from the statue.
Yep, and in no case, in no way, shape, or form could it possibly be a trap, so I will grab it.
You now have a golden eye-shaped pendant.
Oh. So I realized something. Playing D&D makes people paranoid.
Yep.
Like, it's therapeutic, it's wonderful, but it also makes you paranoid as hell.
Nobody ever thinks that there might be something wrong with... If you'd found this golden eye pendant on, say, Brother Mateus, you would have taken it as treasure. but because it's hanging on a god statue behind a false wall with a magically burning oil pool, you're immediately suspicious of it.
Well, to be fair, no one booby traps their own body. So I mean, if I found
I'll
it on,
remember that. I'm making a note of that. Keep in mind, you haven't entered the tomb yet.
well, that's true too. But anyway, yeah. So I'll grab it, and I'm gonna I'll walk back out, and I'm gonna kind of show the eye pendant. Is there like a glass or something inside, like the eye pendant, or does it just look like a solid eye pendant?
It's just a golden pendant that has the shape of an eye. It's kind of sculpted to look like an eye. There's no jewels in it. There's no like hole to look through it or anything like that. Yeah. It looks like it's not huge, but it looks like it's probably worth about 25 gold pieces.
I'll put it on.
All right.
Actually, wait.
Nothing happens if you put it on.
Yeah, I'll put it on.
Yet. So as you start to head towards the entrance, of course, Brilinya and Dunala just turn to leave too, because it is pretty tight quarters in there. As Dunala leaves this chamber, all of the oil basins are snuffed. Because it seems to be directly related to the presence of the puzzle cubes. So you head back out. You see Qualu, I imagine at this point you're kind of realizing nothing changed, and looking back at them, you see them all emerging. You've got, at this point, the obelisk, and you have the other entrance where Qualu was. And thank you to Tamiko for resubscribing for 7 months. That is, of course, going to push you guys up. Let's see, you guys have 5, you now have 6. I gotta do this right. So you're at +5, and then we'll knock these out. So you have 6 domain dice. Thank you for these resub, Tamiko. So are you heading back to the other entrance where you guys camped for the night?
Yeah, that's where the cube slots were.
Yes, there were cube slots there. Vale. As you guys are heading back over there,
I knew it.
As you are heading back over there, and you start to pass by the obelisk, you feel a tugging at your neck. Not like anything strangling, just a light tugging. And this eye pendant has actually shifted and is now floating in the air, and is actually looks like it's hanging off towards the west, to the left of the entrance to this area where you guys camped. In that direction, you see is the true corner of the this whole region of the Lost City of Omu, and there's a lot of foliage in that area up against the cliff, but the pendant is very clearly almost like trying to pull you in that direction.
I mean, I'd probably let the others know. I think the pendant wants me to go over there, and they'll just start walking towards where the pendant's pointing.
No, stay here. I'll go. And Qualu will lead. He'll have his greatsword drawn and ready.
All right. You very quickly see that there is. It's almost seems out of place how much foliage there is here, based on the fact that since you've arrived in this region, the foliage seemed to be a lot less in this region of the amphitheater. Make me a perception check, everybody.
Everybody. 15 for Qualu.
Got a 12.
I got a 16.
And Dunala got a 19, so a dirty 20.
Dirty
So
20.
Qualu, everybody can see this. As you sort of move in this area, you begin to kind of clear away, just pushing away some of this low underbrush, low undergrowth. And in just a moment, you actually realize that all of this foliage was covering another archway in the face of the cliff. Up above, on the lintel of this archway, are stone skulls peering down at you. And the threshold of this is littered with old bones. As you push aside this particularly dry but large piece of brush, you hear this rustle, and there's a sudden shifting movement in the darkness as a swarm of bats flies out and takes flight into the sky, disturbed by your approach. And what you see is in here, this is also a 10-foot wide and 15-foot carved alcove into stone, ending in a stone slab. This stone slab is worked stone blocks. A slab of worked stone blocks the overgrown tunnel, about 20 feet in from the entrance, and grinning skulls mark the edge of the slab, in the center of which are 9 cube-shaped cavities arranged in rows of 3.
Aha.
So you now have 2 alcoves, one with a wall having 8 cubes, one with a wall having 9 cubes. The only difference between the 2 of these, besides the fact that this one was hidden behind underbrush, is that this one has a 9th cube spot.
I have a feeling that this is probably the right one.
I have not heard of the 8 trickster gods of Omu. Must be this. I will guard your backs as you solve this puzzle here. And Qualu would do so. He'll just kind of stand guard as the nerds deal with the puzzle.
I will stand guard with you. Maybe something will come and we'll have to fight it, and I will die a glorious death yet. As Copper Bell stands shoulder to shoulder with you, Qualu. Dunala is going to watch over and participate with Vale and Brilinya, and we are going to take a 10-minute break. When we return, take a look at the overlay, folks. We have a puzzle. I had almost forgotten that I built this into the overlay some time ago. Remember that you do have domain dice hidden behind the puzzle. But below me is the stone slab, and there's no rhyme or reason to why these puzzle cubes are there other than I didn't want to cover somebody's faces. But I've distributed the 9 puzzle cubes around, 2 to each of you, and then the 9th Unk, the flail snail, is here in my window. You guys will simply tell me how you want to do it. We'll go over all that when we get back from the break. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to take a 10-minute break, refresh your beverages, take any bio breaks you need to. We will be back in just 10 minutes. I need to cue this up a moment. And we will have a video that plays that, yes, I'm aware it's a little outdated. I need to update it because we're not in the Forge of Fury, I think, is advertised in there, but otherwise everything is good information. We'll be back in 10 minutes. And we're back. During the break, Vale, Dunala, and Brilinya,
like I'm thinking at the 1 o'clock position.
Already trying to work the puzzle.
Take your mics if you're trying to talk.
What's that?
Oh, the whole time I'm like, why are you guys ignoring me? I said so much to you guys about we're going back.
Yeah, no, we're just ignoring you, Jake. We could hear you. We didn't give a crap.
You had no idea until I turned the overlay on. What I was saying was, and we're back. And they're trying to solve the puzzle through the break.
Yeah.
All right, well, as you can see...
Only the nerds are.
Right. As you can see, looking below me, there is a representation of the alcoves that you see on the wall. And all around the overlay here are the various puzzle cubes representing the different gods. So you have, let's see, Wongo the Sioux monster. I have to find where these guys are. Let's see, Wongo. This might not work as well as I had hoped. Oh, there we go. Something's locked. Let's try that. That's the puzzle grid. Oh, I'll do it this way. It'll make it easier to figure out who's who. Anyway, yeah, so you have all the puzzle cubes around here, and you just need to tell me where you want them to go, and I will place them appropriately.
All right.
So we have, I think I figured this out here. In Connor's window is Wongo the Sioux monster blinking. And then we have Papazotto the Ibli is right there. Then you have Moa the Jaculi is in Dunala's window. And Unk the flail snail is in my window. Obalaka the Zorbo is in Dunala's window. Let's see. Kubazan the Frogamoth is in Vale's window. And Shagambi the Commodon. Finally, Ning Ning the Grung and Ijin the El Mirage are in Brilinya's windows. So you simply need to tell me who you want to place where, and I will take care of that.
Okay. I think Unk the flail snail should go in the center square.
All right, are you saying this? You have to tell me explicitly when you want to place a puzzle cube.
All right. Well, then, if that's the case, then I would like to start off by saying a tiny prayer to Ubtao. And I'm going to turn and look. Whoever's immediately behind me, I'm going to say might just want to stand back a bit in case, there's a trap and something happens and whatnot have you. Okay. I'm going to pull Obolaka, the Zorbo cube. I'm going to place it into the top right or 1 o'clock position in the square.
Right there?
Yep.
All right, and I will lock Obolaka.
And then in the center far right square, Ijin the Almirage.
But I don't know because they're enemies. So would they not want to be right next to each other? Right?
So maybe the bottom left? Because the thing is, like I'm thinking is that I'm thinking like by time, right? Because they talk about like in the morning, so that being in the morning, and then unfortunately at noon you'd want to say it'd be at the like straight up top would be the Commodon, would be Shagambi, and then yeah, and then Nang Nang, but I wouldn't want to put Nang Nang necessarily in the 11 o'clock position.
Well, wouldn't the morning be before noon? So it would be in the left if we're looking at it like a clock instead of the 1 o'clock position.
What happened? What happened when Zorbo got placed there? Anything bad happen?
Nope.
Oh.
It's Abolaka the Zorbo. You placed the puzzle cube, and it fit in there nicely.
All right, I'm going to test something.
Yeah.
I don't want, or maybe not. Jeez, I don't know. So I'm thinking if there is a trap, maybe it's only a trap if you put them all in wrong.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
You should try to test that theory by placing wrong cube down now.
Well, that's the attempt. And yeah, I'll put Ijin, the Almirage, right below Obolaka.
Ijin the El Mirage, you place in below, and you press it in, it slides in nicely. And then you hear, and both the Ijin the El Mirage and Obolaka the Zorbo puzzle cubes are pushed out of the wall and drop to the ground. At that exact moment, now, I know that Vale is standing right in front of the wall, and I know that Qualu and Copper Bell are standing at the entrance. Where are Brilinya and Dunala? I feel confident Dunala is standing close by.
Yeah, but
I feel like
tell them to back up in case.
Well, you did tell them to back up. I don't think Dunala would have backed up. More
I
than
think
a few
maybe.
feet.
Yeah, I think Brilinya would be the same way. Maybe back up, maybe a couple of paces, but
As long as you're still in the area, 14, 22, the entire alcove erupts in lightning. All of you take 28 points of lightning damage as this entire cavern is just suddenly, and lightning just arcs everywhere, striking into you, slamming you into the grounds, into each other. And there's a moment after you all are hit with this where you just hear from the ground near the entrance. Actually, let me just double check her hit points.
Sorry, you said 28?
Yes.
Okay.
You hear from the ground. I need to mark this down. Let's see. Copper Bell. After a moment of silence, you just hear, "That was not very honorable. But I'm not dead yet."
Now you know what a mistake will do. Do not make one again.
I need to drop Dunala by 28 points. So, yeah. You know what happens if they... You can assume that was incorrect. Maybe you don't know, or maybe you do know how incorrect that was. But how would you like to proceed? I imagine Dunala at this point is just sort of, Vale, please do not do this wrong again.
All right.
So I have a thought. and don't put anything down yet. But my thought would be that the Obalaka or the Zorbo goes into the bottom left, and the Almirage goes in the top left.
Well, you know, Zorbo go in top right.
Why do you know that?
Vale put it in and nothing bad happened. Maybe it was sheer luck. He found the right spot. We know when we place the wrong cube, the wrong spot, lightning spit forward from this whole place.
That's good. That's a good point, Qualu.
Could also be the wrong pair. You put in a pair, and if they're both placed wrong, both of the cubes were also pushed out.
I would like to make an observation, says Dunala. Regardless of how we decide to put these in, and I agree with Qualu, that Obalaka we know was right, whether by dumb luck or whatever the case may be. But one thing is for certain. We should not all be standing inside here. Only one person should be in here at a time. It will do us no good if we all die trying to put these puzzle cubes in.
Very true. Could agree with that. I have the ability to heal myself, so I might as well be the one to do it.
I don't know if Dunala has healing or not.
Do sorcerers even have healing?
Yeah, they can take healing.
Can they?
I don't know. I
because
actually don't know if...
I looked at wizard spell lists and sorcerer spell lists, and I've never seen healing.
Maybe they can't. Maybe I'm misremembering.
I mean, if you take the celestial bloodline, you can take access to healing spells because you have the cleric list. But...
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
And there's false life, I believe, and then that's just temporary hit points.
Yeah.
But if you upcast that one, it's like you can get like 30 hit points out of it if you use a big enough spell slot.
Okay. Well, then if that's the case, then all right.
I, for one, am going to stand outside here, unless you want me to take a turn.
Everybody else, on you go as well.
There are only approximately 40,320 possible combinations.
Wow.
Thank you, Cajun Kevin, whether that was a random number you typed or an actual math.
What do you say, 43,200?
40,320.
Sounds about right.
Before Brilinya leaves, she's going to cast Cure Wounds on Vale.
All right.
Much obliged.
Yeah, the overlay just updated, and after one attempt, you guys are all sucking. Well, in particular, Dunala and Brilinya are not in great shape. I think Dunala would even sort of tug at your arm, Brilinya. I do not think we should stand inside here.
Just give me a moment. I'm going to make sure Vale is all right. So that is going to be plus another 5. 25 points of healing.
Nice.
All right.
Nice. All right. I am happy with that. All right. So I am going to wait for everyone to leave, and then I am going to put Zorbo back in the top right.
So Obalaka the Zorbo is going back in the top right.
All right. Well, I've officially exhausted all me luck.
So that one does go back into its slot, and nothing happens.
And you think the Almirage should go into the bottom left? Is it right, Brill?
No, perhaps not, but maybe just away, at least a square away from, Zorbo.
Why only one square? If they are bitter enemies, would they not be the furthest possible spot?
Yeah, yeah. So in either corner.
All right then. And I'll take the Almirage and put it into the bottom left corner, wincing the entire way, kind of doing one of like.
You slide Ijin, the El Mirage's cube, into the bottom left. And it slides into place and stays there.
All right. We're cooking with some sort of combustible fluid now.
The next one is at noon.
Aye. So I'm thinking that means that Shagambi, the Kamadan, should be in the very top center, and I'm thinking that Nang Nang should be in the bottom.
Yes, the Commandant and the Grung.
Right. So they're going to chase the Grung forever across the sky. Ooh, across the sky.
Perhaps if it is across the sky, they must be on horizon. As one goes up, the other goes down. As we see the sun do.
So at the left and right.
Yes. How the sun chases moon, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
See how the tokens are facing. The Grung will not face the Commandant. Grung ran away from Commandant.
So the Commandant should be on the left. Grung should be on the right.
No.
Trailing the path of the sun.
No, Grung should be above the rabbit. For the Grung will not look upon the Commandant. He runs away from the Commandant.
Okay.
You see how they're carved into the stone here?
I think I know what you mean. Okay. Actually, there we go. A little bit easier to see.
See, this is the part where we realize that the jock is a nerd too.
I am not a nerd. I just
Copper
not
Bell
biased.
leans over and says, I thought you said that the nerds were the ones who are going to solve this.
Well,
That's when you realize the jock is being played by a nerd who can't resist.
All right, do you
their
have an
second
idea?
move
All right.
cost us all pain.
I will put. First, I'll take the Commandant and put it into the middle right.
So you're going to put, whoops, that's not how that works. Hold on, I was doing something wrong. So Shagambi, the Commandant, you're going to put
Into the
here.
center right. Yep.
All right, let me lock Shagambi. And then you were going to put Nang Nang.
Into the center left.
So
Grung run away
Shagambi
from
goes into
Commandant.
position and nothing happens. You slide Nang Nang into the opposite location. Shunk. And nothing happens. 4 puzzle cubes of 9 successfully placed.
All right. We're doing well. So next is going to be Kubazan the Froghemoth. And Papazotl, the Eebly.
You do know that Eebly fly and Froghemoth swim, yes? That one is obvious.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, so let's see, we've got a right. Okay, so then if that's the case, then the Jakuli. No, excuse me, not the Jakuli. Kubazan should be in the center bottom, while Papazotl should be in the center top.
Which one are you placing first?
It should be. Oops.
The Eebly, right? First.
The Eebly
Yeah.
first. And place it in the
So the
sky.
Eebly in the center top, and then so Papazotl in the center top, and then Kubazan. Kubazan in the center bottom. Oh,
Okay. So
I
you
don't
placed
know.
you
That was
placed Papazotl in the top, and then you're placing Kubazan the Froghemoth down here.
Oh.
Correct?
no, wait.
It's fine.
No, it's not.
So far, with that placement, nothing has happened.
Ooh.
All blocks are in place.
So 3 more to go, eh? 3 more to go.
Let me
Okay.
check that. Yeah, Papazotl and Kubazan. Yep.
All right.
So then, the Sioux monster. Wongo.
The Sioux monster stole the water, yes?
Yeah.
And water is where the Froghemoth lives.
Hmm.
Of course they'd be next to each other.
But then where would the Jakuli go? I'm guessing that then the top left.
Always put the rivals across, yes.
Yeah.
So
And
which
leaves the
one are you
flail
placing
flail.
next?
Wongo.
It should be Wongo first in the bottom right corner, and then Moa in the top left corner.
You slide Wongo into the righto spot.
That was terrible. You should feel bad.
It was so bad. And then Moa the Jakuli,
In the top left spot.
you slide the Jakuli into the
Phase
top
through
left.
each other.
Shoom. 8 of the 9 cubes have been placed. All that remains is Unk, the flail snail.
I wonder where this last one goes.
This is going to be
Perhaps-
a tough one.
Hmm.
Just
If
give
you
me
get this wrong, Vale, if you get this one wrong,
I mean, I think
you'll eat the lightning.
I will ride the lightning. All right. Yeah,
There's
go
only
on.
one possible
Go on.
combination.
Gosh, put
You
it in.
slide the last
doesn't
puzzle
fit.
into the door. All 9 cubes immediately
Pop out.
flare with a bright light. And then
And you get nuked.
they all vanish. Every single one of them is gone.
Bad news. I've lost the cubes. Campaign's over.
The entire stone slab rises up into the ceiling. And as it slides up into the ceiling. Where is it? You see a stone-floored hallway, 10 feet across, 20 feet deep, and you see another stone slab blocking the hallway 20 feet away. An iron lever is set into the door's surface with a graven stone skull leering down from above. What would you like to do?
So we did it then. That's it?
Yes. And now,
Perhaps it's just a trap. A false sense of security. I will go first. It's my duty.
I mean, no, it's not really a duty. I mean, we're all here to work together, but
I'm here for Dunala. Quali will step in first.
Okay, you step in.
yeah, I'll follow.
Okay.
I think we would all go in at this
So,
juncture.
I mean, you've got this.
Let's take our first steps into the dungeon all together.
You've
at
got
the
a
same
20-foot
time.
hallway. Vale and Qualu are leading the way, followed by Dunala, Brilinya, and Copper Bell. Are you heading over to this other stone slab and iron lever? Vale?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a feeling once we hit that iron lever, the door behind us is going to shut, and we're going to be stuck in here, ready to go.
Well, this is what we came here for.
Well,
We've made Syndra wait long enough.
uh,
You're proceeding. Vale and Qualu, you're leading the way. When you get 10 feet into this 20-foot hall, the graven stone skull leering from above the door, its jaws creak open, and from within its mouth, a skeletal hand holding a crystal hourglass slides out, and you hear and sand begins to fall from the hourglass. And I need you guys to tell me quickly what you are going to do. 10, 9, 8.
I will go to the hourglass
7.
and see if I can hold it.
It is
Stop
too
it from
far
turning.
up to reach. 6, 5,
Pray to the nine trickster gods.
4,
pull the lever, Crunk!
3,
All right, I'm going to pull the lever.
2. You reach up and pull the lever.
Pull the lever.
You pull the lever, and the floor beneath you splits into 2 seams and drops away below you. Vale, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
No problem. All right, what is it? +7. Nothing. 21.
You are able to hold onto the iron lever, hang from it, and prevent yourself from falling in to the pit trap that everybody else has just fallen into. Dunala, Brilinya, Copperbell, and Qualu, you are going to take bludgeoning damage from falling. So you will each take 15 points of bludgeoning damage. And I would like Brilinya, roll a d4.
And
That's
that's
a
how many
3.
limbs you lose.
Brilinya, you have become impaled on 3 spikes. You take 10 points of piercing damage, and you take 9 points of poison damage.
Well, I'm dead.
Wait. No, you take 22 points of piercing damage. What was the total damage you just took?
Oh, I don't know. I
You
can't
took-
go back.
Hold on, I have it here. 6, 10. It's 32. So you didn't take your like opposite max damage.
No, but I'm at 0.
So okay, so Brilinya falls. You see, looking down into this pit, Vale, as you're hanging. Brilinya, you see, fall 20 feet and is pierced by 3 poisoned spikes. As you hear the thud, you see Copper Bell, thunk, and you see a large spike piercing through her open mouth. She is dead on a spike. 3 more spikes piercing her body. Qualu, roll a d4.
Sorry, who? Brilinya's dead?
No, Brilinya is unconscious and impaled.
Okay.
I rolled a 4.
Qualu, you... Oh, boy. Qualu, you will, in addition to the bludgeoning damage, you will take 6, 7, 8, 13 points of piercing damage. And you will take 2, 8, 14, 18 points of poison damage. And you are impaled on 4 spikes. Somebody roll a d4 for Dunala.
I'll do it. That's another 4. All right.
Oh,
I
boy.
no longer will roll for bad stuff.
Okay, so Dunala is going to take 9, 10, 11, 15 points of piercing damage. What was the bludgeoning damage you guys took? Do you remember? For falling? So it's 15. I re-rolled it, so it's 11 more bludgeoning for Dunala. So it's 15, 26. So write this down. 26, and then he takes 7, 8, 14, 21 poison. So Dunala has just taken 47 points of damage. But I need to see. I don't know if Dunala is resistant. He doesn't list any resistances. Unfortunately for Dunala, as Marquise will reveal next week, his Yanti nature is no longer a factor. So his poison resistances are gone. Dunala takes that's what I say, 47. So Dunala is now in death saving throw status. Brilinya is in death saving throw status. Qualu, what are you at?
I'm still at a nice ripe 28 hit points. We're good.
And Vale is
Just a flash
hanging from the iron lever that he pulled, opening the pit trap below, where Copper Bell is also dead and impaled. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session. We will begin next week with Vale, or with Brilinya and Dunala making death saving throws.
Good job, Vale.
I'm going to be jumping down there. And
Wait.
I will take that pain.
I have been so excited for this series of puzzles because I've never had like an actual published module that literally says start slowly counting down from 10. That's literally what it says to do. Which really puts the pressure on you guys, because now you know you can't take any time to figure it out. You have to make a decision.
Vale
And
killed us all.
somewhere
except for
a
me.
ghostly knight is looking at you, Vale, and saying you chose incorrectly.
Drank from the wrong cup.
Brilinya, I bet you didn't expect to get impaled and unconscious. I mean, that's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And you know I like to make my players roll to determine how many of a thing they get hit by. So, yeah. So you can explain to Dunala why he's in death saving throw status.
Does he not have Featherfall?
Actually, that's a good point. I will check real quick because he definitely would have used that.
Yep.
I don't see it.
Spells, first level. Nope, nothing there.
No, I will give. How are you able to see his character sheet?
Because I can access the campaign the same way that I can look at your.
Yeah, but I thought you couldn't look at other players' character sheets.
Nope.
Sure you can.
But you certainly can.
Huh, that's weird. Okay.
Like anyone can look at mine.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, next week, be sure to tune in for episode 46 that I will cleverly title.
Also, the final episode in the campaign.
It's looking that way. I was actually, my heart stopped for a minute, Megan, because when you said I'm dead, I thought, oh crap. Because I know you only have like a max of 56 hit points, but you had like half. You were, I think, at half when you took that damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's brutal. You're taking bludgeoning damage, piercing damage, and poison, and you're guaranteed to be impaled on at least one spike because you're rolling a d4 to determine how many spikes you get impaled on. Poor Copper Bell only had 12 hit points left because she got just blasted by that lightning. So she didn't have a chance.
What a fool.
So that was fun. I've actually never run a puzzle like that. And what did you guys think of the on screen being able to actually see what you were doing? And
Oh yeah, no, that
That
was-
was the best.
I
Yeah.
think that
Really helped it out.
I was
Yeah.
I was hoping that would translate well. It looked pretty good
Yeah.
up on the
Yep.
on the Twitch stream. So, oh, that would actually be worse than what I rolled. I think Kevin put 15 in there. He was saying how much bludgeoning damage you guys took. It doesn't matter. Tunala is unconscious. So yeah, we will tune in next week to see what happens as Vale has to struggle to free his friends, all of whom are impaled on spikes at the bottom of this 20-foot pit. And there's still the matter of figuring out how in the heck you're going to get out of this pit. Excuse me. And what comes next. So thank you everybody who tuned in tonight. This was a blast. It's always good to be back to a game after a hiatus. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. Thank you to Tomiko for the resub, gaining them another domain die. You'll notice, though, that except for Vale, when it came to the lightning and falling, nobody got saving throws. This is starting to where you're getting into the more brutal nature of this. And because this is sort of like a Tomb of Horrors Part 2, I think you're gonna see a lot more where you either don't get saving throws based on actions, or you're gonna have save or suck situations. Things are getting really, really deadly. But don't tell anybody. This is just for you, chat. If they survive this puzzle, they might enter the tomb at level 10.
Sorry, did someone say we'll level up to level 11? I like where
You guys are only level 9, correct?
No, we're level 10 already.
No, you're not.
What are you talking about?
Connor's always
You should
trying
let us
to
go
mess
up to
with my
level
head
11.
about what level. You always get me second guessing and having to check. So thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to Mike, Megan, and Connor for another fun game. Tune in tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist, DM'd by Mike and with myself, Megan, Cassie, and Dwight. I think we have everybody back for tomorrow's game. So yeah, be sure to tune in for that and tune in for all the other exciting games that we have coming up on the channel throughout the week. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. We're going to end this the same way we end every stream. And y'all can say it with me if you want.
Impaled on spikes.